The Fourth Way by P.D. Ouspensky. And this is a continuation of Chapter 7. And let me just remind you before I start reading that every time a question is asked, it's asked by Ouspensky, who is a student of Gurdjieff's. The answers are given by Gurdjieff. So, question. Can one see false personality without help? Answer. There is nothing against it theoretically, only I never saw such a case. Even with help, people will not see it. You can show a man a mirror, and he will say, "This is not me. It is an artificial mirror, not a real mirror. It is not a reflection of me." Question. How can one eliminate false personality? Answer. You cannot eliminate it. It's just the same as trying to cut your head off. But you can make it less insistent, less permanent. If your false personality is there for 23 hours out of 24, when work begins, it will be there only 22 hours, and you in quotes, will be present an hour longer. If at any moment you feel the danger of a manifestation of false personality and you find a way to stop it, this is what you have to begin with. The question of elimination does not enter at all. It is connected with quite different things. You must have control. Question. Isn't the study of false personality analyzing oneself? I thought it was a bad thing. Answer. To a certain extent, it is analyzing. What was said about refraining from analysis was in the first lecture. I said then that analysis was impossible because you do not know enough. Analysis means establishing causes and effects, and so at first I said that you have to abstain from analysis and just observe, nothing more, because the time for analysis would come when you knew the laws. Now we are studying these laws, so certainly you have to analyze more and more. You see, rules for observation and thinking in the first lecture are one thing, but with the passing of time they change and modify. What one cannot do in the first month, one already must do in the second month. Both difficulties and possibilities increase all the time. Analysis must be used carefully when it is necessary, not for everything. Sometimes it's only a waste of time. Question. Would you say that false personality is sometimes built up by other people, for instance, when people say in front of a child that they hate strangers? Answer. Quite right. False personality is built up from many sides, and certainly to a great extent by suggestion from other people. A child gets many suggestions, especially about his likes and dislikes. Question. I don't quite follow how to find the eyes that object to the work. Does it mean that we should sift out what the eyes are? Answer. You must not think theoretically about it. Try to find what in you objects to the ideas of the system, or try to find the eyes. Or you can call them anything you like, which are indifferent to it. Suppose you have a certain definite taste in food. These eyes, which are interested in food, cannot be interested in self-remembering. Then there are other eyes interested in things opposed to self-remembering. There are many things you can do with pleasure only if you do not remember yourself. And naturally, these eyes will be very inimical to self-remembering because it will only spoil their pleasure. Try to find them in that way. Theoretical approaches will not help. Question. What is the origin of these artificial groups of eyes? Answer. They may be formed by imitation, desire to be original, to be attractive, to be admired by people, and so on. Question. When you find a group of eyes which does not want to self-remember, what do you do about it? Answer. Leave it alone. If it does not want to, what can you do about it? If there are groups of eyes that want to, work on them. Those eyes which realize the necessity to self-remember, must work with other eyes that also want to. They must not spend their time in persuading other eyes. Question: is it to be expected that some eyes in man would be frightened of the idea of separating I from Mr. A? Answer: certainly, all eyes which constitute false personality will be frightened, because it is death to them. But you must remember that they may show their fear only for some time, and after that they may disguise themselves in order not to die. You may seriously think that you have finished with false personality, whereas it's only concealing itself inside some feature, ready to appear. This feature is always weakness. As long as it remains, it takes all energy, but it may be very well disguised, and in that form it may even become stronger, growing parallel with the growth of real I. So the realization of the necessity of this division into I and Mr. A is not sufficient to destroy it. You must remember that false personality defends itself. Question: is false personality based on negative emotions? Answer: there are many other things in false personality besides negative emotions. For instance, there are always bad mental habits. False personality, or parts of false personality, are always based on wrong thinking, although to a certain extent you are right. In some cases, if you take negative emotions away from false personality, it collapses, for it cannot live without them. On the other hand, some false personalities can function on most pleasant emotions. There are very cheerful false personalities, and in this way your false personality can deceive you and make you believe that you are struggling with negative emotions. It can deceive you in many different ways. Question: do all negative emotions spring from false personality? Answer: how could it be otherwise? It is, so to speak, a special organ for negative emotions, for displaying, enjoying, and producing them. You remember that there is no real center for negative emotions. False personality acts as a center for them. Question: is identification always a manifestation of false personality? Answer: false personality cannot manifest itself without identification, the same as negative emotions and other things in us, such as all lying, all imagination. One identifies, first of all, with one's imaginary idea of oneself. One says, "This is I," when it is nothing but imagination. It is the same with lying. One cannot lie without identification. It would be very poor lying, and nobody would believe it. So it means that first one must deceive oneself, and then one can deceive other people. Study of false personality is one of the quickest methods for self-remembering. The more you understand your false personality, the more you will remember yourself. What prevents self-remembering is, first of all, false personality. It cannot and it does not wish to remember itself, and it does not wish to let any other personality remember. It tries in every possible way to stop self-remembering. Takes some form of sleep and calls it self-remembering. Then it's quite happy. You must not trust your false personality. Its words, its ideas, its actions. You cannot destroy it, but you can make it passive for some time, and then, little by little, you can make it weaker. Question: you say one must not trust anything connected with false personality, but it seems to be all there is. Answer: it cannot be so. There is one thing, you, and there are imaginary eyes. You is what really is, and you must learn to distinguish it. It may be very small, very elemental, but you should be able to find something sufficiently definite and solid in yourself. If we are entirely false personality, then nothing happens. There are people who are only false personality. Other sides of them are so subdued, so weak, that they cannot resist false personality. These people will not study themselves because they would be afraid of seeing what they are. False personality does not like it at all. Generally, if they begin, they very soon leave off. Explain it in some way, for they are unable to continue self-study. But if one has the energy to go on studying false personality, this shows that one has something besides it. As I said before, this work is every day, not once a month or once a year. It is an examination every day. Question: would you say that false personality is more inclined to leave as you grow older? Answer: no. If you do nothing against it, it grows. Tastes may change, but it grows. This is the only development that happens in mechanical life. False personality is the most mechanical part of us, so mechanical that there is no hope for it. So it must not be allowed to enter into the work.